What if the one thing we feared most about Jason Voorhees wasn't his silence, but what he might say if he ever spoke? In this video, we'll uncover the shocking truth behind the day Jason finally broke his silence. What did he say? Who heard it? And most terrifying of all, what did it mean? This story will take you deep into the mind of the monster, where rage, pain, and something even darker have been hiding for decades. Watch until the end, because once you hear Jason's voice, you'll never see him the same way again. For over 40 years, Jason Voorhees has been one of horror's greatest mysteries. A towering killer, silent and unstoppable, his machete became a symbol of terror. But behind that hockey mask lies something far more disturbing than a deformed face, a broken soul screaming to be heard. According to legend, Jason never spoke because he couldn't. He drowned as a child at Camp Crystal Lake, mocked and abandoned by the very people who were supposed to protect him. The silence became his prison. But some say, silence can also become a weapon. In 1998, a group of paranormal researchers returned to Crystal Lake to film a documentary. They were equipped with EVP recorders, thermal cameras, and motion sensors. Their goal? To find proof that Jason Voorhees still haunted those woods. But what they captured wasn't just proof, it was a voice. At exactly 3:07 a.m., the team's audio picked up a deep, rasping whisper. The words were unclear at first, just static and heavy breathing. Then, beneath the noise, a single sentence emerged. "They left me here." The room went silent. The team checked every device, every channel. There was no one else in the area, no radio signals, no voices nearby. The whisper had come from the lake itself. When they enhanced the audio later that night, they noticed something even stranger. The voice wasn't human. It was layered, distorted, almost as if two people were speaking at once. One voice sounded like a young boy. The other, deep and hollow like something ancient and angry. The researchers published their findings quietly, but within weeks, the recordings were removed from every online archive. Their website disappeared. One of the researchers, Dr. Evelyn Cross, vanished under mysterious circumstances. Before she disappeared, she sent a final email to a friend that said only, "Jason spoke again. He's not alone." That line sent chills down the spine of every horror investigator who read it. Because if Jason wasn't alone, who or what was speaking through him? Some theorists believe Jason became a vessel, not just for vengeance, but for something much older. There are ancient texts found near the region that mention a spirit called Veresh, known as the Drowned One, a being that feeds on grief and guilt. The descriptions match Jason eerily well. Resurrected by water, unable to die, driven by eternal rage. Could Jason Voorhees have become the host of this dark entity? Could that be the real reason he keeps coming back? Not as a man, but as a curse? In 2003, during a fire at the abandoned Crystal Lake campgrounds, firefighters claimed to hear crying echoing from the woods. Some said it sounded like a boy. Others swore it was laughter. The official report dismissed it as stress-induced hallucinations. But one recording, later leaked online, captured a phrase whispered through the static of a fire radio. "It's not over." That same night, the ashes from the burned cabin near the lake formed a strange symbol on the ground. A spiral with a single line through it, almost identical to the markings found in those ancient Veresh texts. In 2017, a group of horror fans ventured into the ruins of Crystal Lake for a live stream. They joked, laughed, and filmed themselves near the water. Around 2 a.m., one of them, a man named Corey, found an old, rusted hockey mask half buried in the mud. As he picked it up, the live stream caught a faint whisper in the background. Viewers commented saying it sounded like a boy saying hello. But when Corey watched the footage later, slowed down, he realized something horrifying. The whisper didn't say hello. It said his name. Corey vanished 3 days later. His car was found at the edge of the lake, the mask placed neatly on the driver's seat. The phone recording, however, remained online for a few hours before disappearing. Those who heard it described it as the most disturbing sound they'd ever experienced. So, what did Jason say that changed everything? According to the only surviving researcher from the 1998 team, Jason didn't just speak, he remembered. In a private interview recorded years later, she said, "He kept saying, 'They left me.' But then his voice changed. He said, 'Now I leave them.' It wasn't anger, it was something else. Acceptance, maybe, or a promise. It's as if Jason finally understood what he had become. A ghost of vengeance, trapped in his own story. Some believe his final words weren't a threat, but a warning. Maybe Jason isn't the monster we think he is. Maybe he's the mirror of everything we fear. Pain, abandonment, and the darkness we create when we forget mercy. The story of Jason Voorhees has always been about revenge. But what if it's really about sorrow? About a child who never got to speak, finally finding his voice through centuries of silence and death. When Jason finally spoke, he didn't roar, he didn't curse, he whispered, and that whisper carried the weight of every scream he'd ever caused and every tear he'd ever shed. So the next time you watch a Friday the 13th movie, listen carefully during the silence between his footsteps. Because somewhere in that silence, the boy who drowned is still trying to say something,